Welcome to HFY Stories. Please subscribe to the channel. Your one click means the world to me. 47 ships hung in the dark above a planet that had slept dead for 10,000 years, and every one of them could crack a world in half without slowing down. I remember the count climbing on the display, my claws gouging the console, thinking, minutes, not hours. But that is where this story ends. Let me tell you how it began. I am Vorak, a cataloger of species for the Galactic Assessment Council, and until that week I believed I understood exactly where every sentient creature stood on the ladder between prey and predator. Humans sat near the bottom of my files, clever, stubborn, breakable. Then a woman named Zara Quinn flew a ship stitched together from a dozen scavenged hulls straight through our orbital defenses, as if they weren't there, and the ladder came apart in my hands. Commander Thex, our Krillian captain, had her brought to the command deck, mandibles clicking with fury. She was small, sun-worn, in a flight suit that had seen worse days than this one. She sat without waiting to be invited. "You've been sitting on top of the biggest find in this quadrant," she said, "and doing nothing with it. I'd love to hear why." Thex drew himself to his full height. "You are trespassing on ground sealed by council order. Whatever lies beneath is not for your kind to touch." "How many of your people have made it inside?" she asked. No one answered. "That's what I figured." She crossed to the viewport and looked down at the dead world turning below. "Funny thing about your people, you love a locked door so much you forget you can just knock." Before Thex could stop her, she'd patched herself into the comm array and was speaking directly to the surface, asking whatever slept below for permission to enter, offering respect instead of demands. For half a minute, nothing happened. Then the whole planet lit up, not one site, the entire sphere, glowing like something stirring after a long sleep. Every instrument on the bridge began screaming about energy readings that shouldn't exist. Dr. Millennia, our archaeologist, went pale under her scales. "It isn't buried beneath the surface," she whispered. "The surface is it." A voice followed, not through the speakers, but somewhere behind my own thoughts. "Zara Quinn of Earth, your kind still remembers the old customs. Come down, but choose your company carefully, for what waits below measures more than courage." 3 Predator-class ships dropped out of hyperspace before we'd finished processing that. Shadow Fang Hunters, a name that made entire systems pay tribute rather than risk a visit. Their leader, Venatrix, hailed us and claimed salvage rights, ordering us to withdraw or be destroyed. Zara laughed at her, actually laughed. "You'll have to get in line," she said. "The invitation's already gone out, and your name wasn't on the list." They opened fire anyway. The planet's shield didn't flicker, it simply reached out and switched their ships off, one by one, engines and weapons and lights all going dark, leaving 3 warships tumbling silent in orbit. "Disabled, not destroyed," the voice noted. A courtesy. 6 of us went down. Myself, Millennia, our security chief Cororax, Commander Thex, a communications officer named Jix, and Zara, who flew the shuttle humming something none of us recognized. The entrance turned out to be a spiral shaft dropping straight to the planet's core, its walls flowing like mercury, while somehow holding a shape too exact to be liquid. The instant Zara's boots touched ground, the vault sang. Not machinery, a chorus that rose out of the stone itself, beautiful and unbearable at once. "Welcome, inheritors. Let the trials begin." The entrance sealed behind us. The corridor split into 6 glowing paths, and the floor began carrying us toward them whether we walked or not. I went blue, and spent what felt like hours confronting living things that broke every rule of biology I'd built a career on, forced again and again to throw out what I thought I knew. When my path finally opened into a domed chamber, Millennia was already there, robes torn, murmuring equations she swore rewrote the shape of reality. Cororax arrived next, carrying a weapon that bent the air around it, saying the trial had taught him that real mastery of combat meant knowing an enemy so well that fighting became unnecessary. Then Zara walked in, and she wasn't alone. Beside her drifted something built from what looked like captured starlight, moving on its own, worn by no visible body. When it spoke, the room's air seemed to vibrate along with it. "I am the aegis of echoes," it said. guardian of the old promise between the builders and whoever proves worthy to carry it forward. It's thinking, Thex managed. It's alive. They built me to stand at the seam between what a person is and what a person could grow into, the aegis said. But a seam needs two sides. I have spent 10,000 years waiting for someone whose spirit would meet mine halfway. It turned toward the six of us, weighing each in turn without eyes to do it with. This one came to the door asking, not taking. She listened before she judged. That mattered more to me than what species raised her. Zara stepped forward, and the aegis flowed around her like water pouring itself into a mold. In the space of one breath, she stopped being a woman in a battered flight suit and became something recalibrated. Every motion suddenly precise, a faint light behind her eyes, flesh and machine folded into a single unfamiliar shape. The old promise is kept, the vault said. The trial is finished. Let the watchers wake. Tall figures began to gather in the light around us, their technology grown into their bodies rather than strapped on. We are what's left of the builders, their leader said, the same voice that had spoken to us from the very start. We built this place hoping the younger races would one day arrive ready. Your commander came armed. The hunters came threatening. She came with a question. That was when the alarms started. The Shadow Fang ships had powered back up, and they weren't alone. 47 capital vessels had dropped into the system, black and angular, radiating something that made every instinct in my body scream before my mind caught up. Devourers, the lead architect said, and for the first time I heard something close to fear in that ancient voice. They strip entire systems bare. We hoped for another 1,000 years before they found us. On the display, one dark hull fired a single beam that didn't destroy a fleeing shadow, Fang's ship so much as erase it, as if it had never been built at all. Guess it's time to see what this thing can actually do, Zara said, rolling her shoulders inside the living armor. She lifted off the ground without a sound, no thrust, no engines, weapons assembling along her arms out of something that looked like solved equations given shape. She didn't wait for orders. She went straight up and out, the architects rising with her, and the rest of us stumbled onto the surface just in time to watch one woman meet 47 planet killers with nothing behind her but 10,000 years of patience and a suit made of light. She didn't fight like anything I had a word for. She slipped between shots that should have caught her, and when she struck back, her weapons didn't just wreck hulls, they unmade them. Cannons folding into something closer to sculpture, engines going soft and useless in their housings. It lasted less than 10 minutes. A fleet that could have swallowed a dozen worlds was left drifting, disarmed, harmless, the whole sky gone quiet where they'd been. She dropped back to the surface slowly this time, the armor drawing in against her shoulders, and found my eyes before anyone else's. It's done, she said. The watchers are up. Whatever this galaxy's been running on fear, grabbing first, that part's finished now. The story of Arcturus 9 outran every ship that carried it. The Shadow Fang hunters never came looking for revenge. Venatrix herself knelt before the human who had disarmed her pack without malice and asked to serve under her instead. The council spent months arguing over what a species this small had just proven itself capable of, and Zara never seemed to notice the argument was happening. She went from system to system settling wars that had outlived their own reasons. The armor dimmed to a thin shimmer at her collar unless she needed it to be more. I saw her last on a station that served 9 different atmospheres, seated between 2 delegations that had hated each other for 300 years, listening far more than she spoke. Afterward, over drinks that neither of our stomachs was built for, she told me the builders hadn't left behind a weapon at all. They left proof, she said, turning her glass so the light caught the rim, that we don't have to stay what we're afraid of becoming. I still have the file on her that I never finished writing. Some nights I pull it up and read the line where I once ranked her kind below moss farmers, and across from it, taped to the bottom of the display where only I ever look, sits a scrap of scorched Shadow Fang hull plating Venatrix gave me the day she knelt, proof, small and ugly and mine to keep, that I was wrong about almost everything.